I probably thought the same thing, that, oh, you just show people houses and then they buy it. You get paid.
Depends on what your structure is with who you work for. And there was a huge snake on the back porch patio. It probably wasn't as big as I'm thinking in my brain. The good feeling of that house went away. Like, we did not buy that house.
What are things that you tell your first-time buyers to look for?
Are you interviewing other people? Honestly, though, people think it's easy to get a real estate license, or it's easy to do what I do. It's easy to do it.
I had to take an Advil after we got done. My arm was tired from all that writing.
I was never going to get the deal.
Sign here, 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 sign here. Oh, sign here. You missed signing there.
This is the Clark Connection Podcast, where 12 years of coaching championships meets real-world leadership. Coach Clark broke through at the highest levels. Now he's bringing you the playbook. Every week, real leaders, real wins. Real strategies you can use Monday morning. If you're done with theory and ready for results, this is your show. You in? Let's go!
And welcome back to the Clark Connection Podcast, where we talk leadership, growth, and real conversations with people who are actually doing the work. I'm your host, Aaron Clark, aka The Coach. But before we jump in, let me give you today's fast leadership truth. And that is, trust is built long before the transaction, and it's lost the moment you stop listening. Now, real quick, this episode is brought to you by our sponsors. The Clark Connection Podcast is powered by Coach Clark Leadership and Development. We help organizations develop leaders who multiply leaders through live training, executive coaching, and cultural strategy. And if you want to grow alongside other serious leaders, join our Leadership Multiplier School community. It is a space built for intentional leadership growth, connection, and accountability. Learn more at CoachAClark.com. This episode of the Clark Connection Podcast is proudly brought to you by Hubbard Flooring Studio. Leadership, growth, and success all start with a strong foundation, but the details matter too. Vicki and her team don't just specialize in high-quality flooring. They also offer Hunter Douglas blinds, bringing both function and design together in one place. Whether you're building, renovating, or upgrading a home or business, Hubbard Flooring Studio helps you create a space that reflects quality, intention, and excellence, from the floors you stand on to the light you let in. Now, if you're ready to work with people who care about craftsmanship and getting it right, visit HubbardFlooringStudio.com or call 225-924-1582. Hubbard Flooring Studio, covering you from the ground up. Shout out to Steadfast Electric for supporting the show. When your power needs to be reliable, not just good enough, Brian and his team deliver safe, dependable electric work for homes and businesses. No shortcuts, no guesswork. Learn more at steadfastelectric.com or call 225-457-7957. Steadfast Electric, reliable power done right the first time. I want to recognize Bobby with the Comfy Quest LLC for sponsoring the podcast. Bobby specializes in craniosacral therapy, a highly specialized form of bodywork, and she's one of only 2 therapists in the Baton Rouge area offering it. This work helps the body release deep tension, regulate the nervous system, and truly reset. To learn more or book a session, visit massagebook.com/acomfyquest or call 225-773-0307. A Comfy Quest, specialized craniosacral therapy for a real nervous system reset. A big thanks to Automate Integrate Professional Services for backing the show. Andrew helps businesses simplify, automate, and integrate their systems, so leaders stop wasting time on manual work and start focusing on growth. Visit automate-integrate.com or email Andrew at automate-integrate.com. Automate Integrate, systems that work so you don't have to overwork. I want to give a shout out to Dr. Bob Smith, chiropractic internist, for sponsoring today's episode. Dr. Bob focuses on identifying the root cause of pain and dysfunction, not just covering up symptoms. If your body isn't performing the way it should, this is the kind of care that looks deeper. Learn more at brspine.com or call 225-291-2626. Dr. Bob Smith, finding the root cause, not just chasing symptoms. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to me. And if you are one of the listeners and you shop with these guys or you purchase from them, that thank you for supporting the show as well. Make sure you tell them that Coach Clark sent you. They do have special deals for my listeners. And if you want to connect with me outside of the podcast, all the links are right here on your screen and in the description. My email, website, and social media. I'd love to hear from you. And especially if something in today's conversation hits home. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your feelings. Now, let me set the stage for today's episode. My guest is Ginger Murray, a real estate professional whose journey into the industry started with family influence, took a sharp turn from the coaching world, and evolved through persistence, adaptability, and an unwavering commitment to trust. Ginger brings both strong perspective on networking, public speaking, leadership, and financial education, and she's closely connected to the Dave Ramsey network, which has shaped how she approaches both business and in life. So let's get into it. Here's my conversation with Ginger. And welcome to the show, Ginger.
Thank you. Thank you, Aaron. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate you hopping on, sharing some time with us, and then going to give us all the wisdoms that you got, all of it. But my first question is that what got you into real estate?
So do you want like the 5-minute answer or the whole answer?
Give me the 5-minute answer.
Okay. When I was a young kid, my grandmother got into real estate after my grandfather and her had retired, and there was they live in southern Minnesota, or they did. They've both now passed on, but they went to a class at night to get a real estate license, and they were both in their 60s. And my grandfather never passed the test, but my grandmother did. And she went on to sell farms in southern Minnesota for many, many years and was a top producer. And I just thought that was cool as a young kid growing up. And it was always in the back of my mind. And then when I was 25 or 26, I purchased my own house as a single mom. And the lady who did my mortgage said, hey, you have the detail sense. If you ever want to change your occupation, I would love to train you. I would hire you. And I thought that would be a great shift out of what I was doing and kind of following my grandmother's footsteps. So I saved up some cash for a handful of months, and I went to that mortgage lady's office, and that's how I got in the business.
And so, all right. So if you don't mind me asking, what were you doing prior to real estate?
I was in the trucking industry. I have a CDL. I was a truck driver.
Do you still have your CDL?
Yes, I do.
Like Class A?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, I drove
That's
a Kentworth.
cool.
Yeah, I drove a Kentworth.
That's really cool. I never knew that.
Yeah, I'm a driver. I just love to drive. I love to drive anything. Yep.
I was about to say, because I did hot shot prior to getting into the schools and everything else.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I drove the buses for that whenever I was coaching. So I had my Class B with the air brakes add-on. And then whenever I switched to hot shot, because I was just doing a small truck, small trailer, they actually took the air brakes. I was looking to go get a Class A, and they're like, we'll have to take the air brake certification off, but our church bus uses air brakes. And I went, never mind.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yes, indeed. That's cool. And that definitely got you off the road a lot, but I'm sure that kept you probably almost as busy. I bet that was hard.
Yeah, so we didn't, I drove for a local company that had a hired truck to Barber Brothers. So I actually was one of the trucks that laid the asphalt. So when you see their trucks, they're little tandem trucks, like company trucks. But for bigger jobs, they had leased or whatever for their independents. They're all around. That the owner that owned my truck was leased to him. So that's who I hauled for. So I was up at 4 in the morning in the gravel pits north of where you guys grew up, and coming down Highway 37, Greenville Springs Road, 5 in the morning. Yeah, that was me.
Well, I mean, there's not much that wasn't north of where I grew up.
That's right. Just gravel pits.
I mean, I mean, coming from, well, I grew up in Bellchase. So
Okay.
for me, about the only thing that was south of me was Buras and Fort Sulphur and water. Yeah, the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
So everything was north of me. But
Yep.
and so got in. So how? Well, what was that like once you got in? You got in, started working, doing real estate.
Yeah, so I started in mortgages, and I thought the best way to do to learn would be to take home my file out of the file box, and learn the paperwork and this and that. Because back then there were no scanning, no emails, no computer stuff. I mean, we faxed our contracts in, or we overnighted copies to the loan companies. There was no computer uploading. So I took my paper file home, and I studied that file. And I don't know, back then there was a certain way we got paid, and it was actually disclosed to the buyer. And that lady had shared that we close our loans with XYZ Title Company because the back closer doesn't put that figure on the buyer's copies. And so when I got my paperwork, I cross-referenced what I was given when I closed on my house and what was in the file, and I saw how much she had made off of me as a single mom. It made me angry. So I just thought that the best way I could do it is to not have people get taken advantage of like that. So I did stay with her for a handful of months to get enough knowledge in it, and then I started my own mortgage company. And I had a very easy fee structure. But then a lot of the loans of the people that would come in would complain about their realtors, but the realtors are who really feeds loan officers. So I thought to best to shepherd people and to make sure they're not getting taken advantage of, I thought the best thing to do would also be a realtor. So for about 6 years, I did both. But then my blood, like my heart and soul, is in real estate, is of the realtor side of things, is going and looking at properties and evaluating things and making sure they're good investments for people. So that's what so for 20 years now, that's all I've done is just be a realtor.
All right. So the question on this, because I would have thought that wouldn't have been possible, being a real estate agent and a mortgage loan officer, like that wasn't a conflict of interest?
Back then you could have a dual license, and you were licensed. It was two separate licenses, but you could both have them. And I think in the past they did do away with that. You could only be one or the other, but I'd already gotten out by then. I don't know if it's back again that you can get them again. I don't know, but I'm happy to see I'm in. Yeah, I don't know.
I just thought that was, when you said it, I was like, what?
Yeah.
You
that was
can
a long
do
time ago.
Both?
like
I'm in the wrong business. I'm going, I know what I'm doing now. I'm going to.
It was a long time ago.
Start a real estate company and a title company. And
yeah. I mean, honestly, when I started in the business, my daughter was 6, and she's 33 now. So.
Okay. So that's just
a
few years ago.
Handful.
No, and that's cool. And I have such an admiration for people that have been in their industry such a long time. I don't think people realize how hard it is, how difficult it is, especially in your line of work, because it's, for most people, 100% commission.
It is. It is 100% commission. It is. It is. But then also too, our industry changes so much because, like I said, when I first started, the computer MLS, like they used to have the paper books that look like phone books. They had just went to the MLS, the very first computerized system, right as I was coming into the world. So I didn't know the old book system. And then since then, we've had 3 changes of that. And like I said, when I started, it was all fax machines and all mailing stuff in and driving it across town and all that. I mean, we don't do any of that anymore. So,
No, no, we don't. I mean, I still have some things that we do with fax, but it's mostly with government agencies. I kind of giggle when they're like, "Oh no, it's more secure," and I'm like, "If you say so, I can't encrypt a fax message, but I can encrypt a PDF file." So, but I actually had a buddy of mine who was on the show that was picking on me because of I was printing something at the time, and for whatever reason it didn't connect. And right before we started recording, it started just trying to print. I'm like, "What is this thing doing, man?" So he was like, "Is that your fax machine?"
I'm surprised you even recognize that.
I was like, "Geez, no, I don't have one of those here."
Yeah, it was like when I started in the business with there was no email, there was no nothing.
If you're listening and thinking, "My team needs this," that's exactly why Coach Clark Leadership and Development exists. We partner with businesses, churches, and organizations that want practical leadership training, not theory, but tools leaders can use immediately. If you're responsible for developing people, let's talk soon. Visit CoachAClark.com. Yeah. And that's a testament too, just seeing how to be adaptable and go with the change, because I've seen that in some of my industries where people just, something happens, they're like, and they just can't do, like, "Nope, I refuse to do that change." I remember a ton of teachers getting out because we weren't going to have textbooks anymore. It was going to be all electronic books on Google Classroom. And they just quit.
Change is hard. Change can be difficult. Every time we've ever changed our MLS software, like how we search for properties and how we do that, there's a lot of drama because it's hard. And every system that we've had has been totally different of the last. But it takes a while. It takes a while to learn the different, how to do it and how to search things and how to send stuff.
But that's all part of it. I mean, if you can't stay the same, you're changing every day. We're changing every second. If you really want to get down to it, like, it's gonna happen. And so being adaptable, like, what would you say then was the hardest adjustment for you to make with those changes?
Which changes? Like, which
Through real
hardest
estate.
adjustment?
I don't know.
Well, I think it wasn't hard to adapt to real estate. I think the hardest thing was when you go from working, at 6 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon or 5 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon, like plant work, and then having to not really having a schedule, like being your own boss. So like, yeah, you can sit on the couch and watch Oprah all day, but that's not going to do anything. You still got to make your phone calls. You still got to talk to people. And being new in real estate, when you just get a license, you just assume that nobody's going to want to use you because you're new. But what I found in this business is the people that I know and that trust me as a human, they know that I will take care of them, and they would still use me if I was 2 days in the business. And I did. I mean, yes, the first 2 or 3 years I was in it, I used all my friends and family were my clients, right? Because they trusted me. And in all honesty, after you go through the real estate school, you do know more than those people, right? Because you're just starting, but at least you have all this new knowledge. So it
And you
really
don't have any
comes
of the
down
bad
to trust.
habits.
That's right. And we don't have any. Well, it depends on who trains you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. Yeah, and I didn't think about that either, but it's so important to trust because people they buy from people they know, like, and trust. Because I can know you and like you, but if I don't trust you, I ain't buying.
But being honestly, though, people think it's easy to get a real estate license or it's easy to do what I do. It's easy to do it. So when the public perception is, oh, this is a really easy profession and anybody can do it, so then you're going to go to somebody that you trust. So if I have a connection with somebody, before I was a truck driver, I worked at 688 Auto Parts. So I started in the automotive and trucking industry as a parts person. And so when I got my real estate license, I actually did quite a few property sales with people that were my former coworkers from the auto parts place. So
makes sense. Because they're used to working with you. They'd seen, hey, if Ginger said she was going to do, then she did.
And I truly think it just boils down to trust. Because like I said, the general public thinks that it's easy to do what we do.
Yeah. Well, I guess before I started, now that I think about it, I probably thought the same thing, that, oh, you just show people houses and then they buy it. You get paid. Get a lot of money. But y'all work.
Yeah, but and we don't get all the money. The office gets the check, and then you get a piece of that. Like you get a percentage of the check. So it depends on what your structure is with who you work for. It's not. So when you have a closing, you see that big number. That's not going to the person at the table. It's going to who they work for. And if they're on a team, they'll get a third of a third of a third, or whatever their team agreement is. So it depends on the hierarchy of who you're working for.
Gotcha. But I mean, either way, it's not easy. I know our poor real estate agent, it took, I think we looked at the house that we're in now. We probably looked at it like 3 or 4 times. We looked at another handful for over a month, and so I mean, that's a lot of work for just me, making money off of me. I thought about it after. That was when I realized, after I bought my first home, I went, ooh, I don't know that I want to be in that industry.
Yeah. No, and it is. You're right. It is 100% commission. Nobody's writing a check. I always tell people it's a volunteer job until the very last second. Like we don't get paid until the very last thing is we get handed a check, and then that still goes to the office, and you got to wait for yours.
Yeah. Now, and I guess so. When I was asking about the changes in real estate, were there any that you found were like a struggle to go through or to adapt to?
I don't think so. I mean, I always try to be on the cutting edge of figuring out what's new, and seeing the trends, because Baton Rouge, like we're not usually on the cutting edge of trends, so it's always happening in other places of the country really before it comes to us. And honest to goodness, in the last 10 or 12 years or so with the internet, all the providers that have something new and shiny for our industry, they solicit us. So, we get emails and packets in the mail, and this is what we can do for you, and we have this and we have that. So it really is, you have to be focused on, I mean, you can go broke in this business by just buying all that extra crap. Anytime somebody goes, oh, we could do that, we can do this. You have to be able to use it too, and not everything works in our market. So you just have to be very focused on what to pick up as a new thing and what not. Like, is it really going to serve your clientele or serve you and or help people, right? So it just depends on what it is. That's a hard question. I don't really think there has been any challenges.
Yeah. Well, and I think you said it best, being able to pick out what's new. But like you'd said earlier, it all comes down to one thing. Are you going to call the leads or are you not? Are you going to go show houses or are you not? The other stuff is nice, but if you're not going to do those things.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I think to be successful in this business is you have to be grounded in like what you need. Like, I know when I first started out in this business, I had to make at least one sale a month or my mortgage wasn't getting paid. So I know, I didn't push anybody into a situation, but I wanted to make sure like I had to close something. Well, now with, the repeat business that I have and the people, I don't have to chase as much as I used to. And I don't have to, like, if somebody takes 6 months to pick a house, I'm still okay with that because all my stuff is covered. Like I have enough overlap of clients that I don't have to worry about a dry spot. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And I think that kind of plays into, like, I like what you said with the goal setting and having a reasonable goal. Your goal wasn't, I'm going to sell 12 homes this month. Like, are you really? Are you going to be showing at least 10 homes a day? Like, how are you going to get there?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, and you have to have a plan. But I don't know. Like, yes, there are people out there that say, oh, you have to make your goal and then double it and then go after that. Well, that's just not realistic. Like, it has to be a realistic expectation. And I know, it always appears, like it always happens. Like I've never not had enough. It's always come around to working out. It's always been the best situation for whoever I'm working with at the time.
We want to take a quick moment to shout out today's premier sponsor, Vicky with Hubbard Flooring Studio. Leadership always starts with a strong foundation, and so does your home or office. Vicky and her team don't just cover floors, they help you step into excellence one plank, tile, or carpet at a time. And now, they are offering Hunter Douglas blinds, giving you the ability to set the tone, control the light, and create the perfect environment to lead from. Hubbard Flooring Studio, where strong foundations and bright visions begin. Yeah, I agree. And that's one I think that you do have to do is make them those realistic, because I'm with you. I've always hated if your goal is to make 5 widgets, well, make your goal 10. So and whatever it takes to make 10, then you're going to have to do that activity to get 10. And it's like, so to make 10 widgets, it's going to take me 70 hours a week to do that realistically. So yeah, I'm not going to work that extra hard. But if to make 5 takes 40 or 30 hours, well, yeah, I'm willing to work 40 to make the 5. And so I think we really have to look at reverse engineering whatever those goals are. Having that, well, I need 1. Well, what does it take for me to get 1?
Well, in real estate, like there's an average price point. Let's say an average price point in our area. So then you take what the average commission is, and then what the average I'm going to have in my hand if it closes. And so you take that figure. So if you're new at it, you take the averages of the area, right? And then you say, okay, I've got to make $60,000 this year. Well, then you take 60 divided by that amount you're going to put in your hand, and then that's how many deals you got to do just to make that minimum, right? And then you have to figure out, okay, so if I've talked to 10 people and one person, or I've talked to 20 people and one person says, yes, I am, or, oh, I know somebody that will, and get you a connection, that's the 1. So if 20 calls represents 1 potential, you've got to figure out how many calls you got to make to get those. I mean, it's whatever you said, back engineering.
The reverse engineering, yeah,
reverse engineering the number.
You got to back into your goals.
Yeah, but you got to know what you need, and then you go and then you break it down to what you have to do for your daily activities to get it done.
Agreed. Yeah, you can't just. I mean, it would be nice to make 10 sales, but is that realistic? Especially starting out.
Yeah, well, it can be. It just depends. It depends on what your numbers are. Depends on what your numbers are, and it's all who you know. I mean, connections are where it's at. I mean, I think probably in any sales position, because human contact and human knowing and people connecting is really where it's at, especially in real estate. Because it's a very emotional sale. It's a very emotional thing. It's not like going and buying a new pair of shoes down the street. Real estate's emotional.
Well, it's a lot more than a pair of shoes down the street, too.
Well, it is, but I mean, there's a lot more thought process to it. There's a lot more that goes into it. There's a lot of factors. I mean, if you buy the wrong one, it's hard to get out of it. It's very expensive to have to move again. So you want to make sure that you have somebody that's going to check all the variables and make really sure that's what you want to do. You know, there's a lot of people that live in Baton Rouge and want to move out of Baton Rouge because they just want to move out of Baton Rouge. But then they move out of Baton Rouge, and then 2 years later, they're so tired of the commute, they want to move back to Baton Rouge. Well, they could have rented their house and rented a house out there and made sure before they did it. You know, I mean, it costs a lot to move. Costs a lot to move.
Yeah. And so I kind of want to switch gears a little bit. So one of the questions that I'd asked in the questionnaire is, what's one experience that helped shape your leadership style? And you said B&I and public speaking. And so I want to get you to elaborate on that a little bit.
So,
well, I guess first, what is B&I?
All right, BNI it used to be Business Network International, but they did away from that with the acronym years ago, and it is a business to business networking group. They have them all over the country. One person per profession is in each group. So for 20 years, I've been in a BNI group, and I'm the only residential realtor in the group. So that group helps me when they come across someone that needs to buy or sell real estate or has even a real estate question. They refer me as their known local expert. But I know you're going to find this really hard to believe. I naturally am an introvert. Like, I am such a stay at home, don't want to go anywhere person. I am not a social butterfly. So BNI really has allowed me to be able to stand up and speak in public, to be able to introduce myself and be able to make those cold calls and be able to make introductions and be able to introduce someone to them. And I mean, because BNI's given me those skills. I was a basket case the first couple of years I was in BNI. I mean, I would have high anxiety and not even want to go to the meetings. Like, it was bad. It was bad. You couldn't tell it now. I mean,
No,
but it's,
you can't.
I know people don't believe that when they meet me, but I'm like, I'm serious. It was bad.
I believe it. Because, well, it's like one of the top three the things that people fear. Like, it's people's top fear is public speaking. Like, a lot of people fear public speaking more than they do death.
That's right.
So I always laugh at, like, I'm kind of giggling whenever the first person goes up to speak at a funeral. 'Cause I'm like, I wonder if they're one of the people that would rather be in the casket than up on the stage.
It's true though. It's a really anxiety driven, but in real estate, you've got to get out and put yourself out there and meet people and go to social events and, make contacts. And like I said, contacts are a big part of how you can keep, real estate business going, because you've got to have the contacts. So BNI's helped me a tremendous amount.
Right. And it's not just, and those of you that are listening, it's not just important in real estate. It's important in every business. I mean, like, when I think a lot of stuff that I've been able to get connections to and what have you, it's all from people I've known, that I've met, that gave me opportunities, because, that kid worked with him. Yeah, give him a shot.
Yeah. Well, I think it also too, it's like I have, 25 people in all different industries. So when somebody asks me a question or has a problem with something, I have somebody to talk to. Like, we have an insurance agent in our group. So if somebody has a problem with flood insurance or somebody has a problem with something else that I don't know the answer, I mean, Lorianne is more than willing to talk to somebody on the phone and give them 15 minutes of her time, to help answer those questions. And it makes me look good when I have a network of people that can help just help with questions and growing connections. I mean, it's just perfect.
It is. I'm really kind of just picturing you like just panicking, like getting it, because I mean now you come in and you do all sorts of fun stuff, and that's how Ginger and I met, is through BNI. And I just remember the very first meeting, because Joseph King is who brought me. He was a longtime sponsor, was one of the guests on the show, and I just remember I saw you and I was like, that woman's crazy. Like, because you just did, I mean, you were fun, you were full of energy, and then I was like,
Yeah.
I love her, she's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, if you've liked what you've seen so far, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow the show. That way we can continue to bring you great guests and great content like you've seen so far. Now back to the episode.
I really have. I've come out. I make a joke that I was a Muppet in a past life, because my goofiness can really come on strong when I'm having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think for people to learn and to connect, you have to be having fun, because if you're a curmudgeon all grumpy faced all the time, nobody wants to get to know you. So, and I naturally can be grumpy faced, so I really have to work on being a Muppet.
Right. Well, and the other thing too is you want to be memorable whenever you get into a room.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Mean, if we've got 30 people in there, I mean, what are you going to do that make people go, oh yeah, her?
Yep.
Or oh
That's
yeah,
right.
him.
Yep, that's true.
And so
Best
making
stand
yourself
out.
memorable. And so I'm assuming you probably have several interesting or goofy stories with buying a house. What's like one of your favorites to tell people? I know you can't go give names, but I'm sure you can give like, hey, this is the situation, this would happen.
Well, a lot of silly. There's probably a lot of silly things. Weird stuff too. Like, I showed a house one time in a neighborhood that the house backed up to a lake, and we walked out to the back patio, and my buyers really, really liked the house, and there was a huge snake on the back porch patio, sunning itself, like drying off. It was the huge. I've never seen a snake so big. I mean, it was scary. And of course, it probably wasn't as big as I'm thinking in my brain, but it was big
Red
enough.
eyes.
No, it didn't have red eyes, but
Hissing.
it was a huge black snake, and it didn't move or nothing, but it was laying, and it was real. And that the good feeling of that house went away. Like, we did not buy that house. And in fact, we didn't buy a house on a lake. We changed what we were looking for after the snake house. And to this day, when I speak to that couple, we talk about the snake house. Like, we still talk about that. And it was in the middle of Baton Rouge. Like, I was unbelievable. Yep.
But if you live by a lake, you might run into a snake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty common.
No. And I mean, there's a lot of, just around Baton Rouge, there's a lot of rural areas,
Yeah.
wooded areas. So, I mean, you probably go run into it somewhere in the Baton Rouge area.
Oh yeah. I mean, but wildlife and this and that. But that's probably one thing that stands out the most.
Now, what's like maybe I would say one of the most interesting things you've come across in a house, if you're even able to talk about some of them?
There's just weird things, like in the older houses, sometimes on the kitchen counters, they'll have the blender bottom attachment, and there's a blender that's built into the counter. They're really cool.
Hold on, people have blenders built into their countertops?
Yeah, it's on the counter. It's on Hamilton Beach or whatever. It has the actual, like the star that's on the bottom of your blender. There's a little round thing on the counter with that star in it, and there's a switch somewhere, and it turns the blender on. You put it on the counter. Yep.
That's kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd want one just to have one. I'd never use it. But
Yeah. And then I've come across the stoves that fold up, and then they fold down. The cooktops. They're on a wall.
oh,
Those are the older houses. Every once in a while,
that's
they'll have
interesting.
the old style cabinetry and the old style appliances are neat.
Yeah, I'm sure you come across several interesting rooms and.
Oh yeah, I mean, they all run together. Like I haven't seen anything crazy recently, but there are things that you go, what were they thinking? Or what was that for? Or where did that, it's just weird. Some things are just weird.
Yeah, I know while we were looking, like one of the things that I liked in some of the houses was the den area that kind of dropped down and that the 2 or 3 steps just down in there and then another room off to the side of that. I liked those. I thought those were kind of.
Yeah. It's funny too, because like agents, we pick on buyers and, because they never know what they want. Well, they don't know, especially first time buyers, because they've only lived in that house and went to friends' houses. Like they have no idea. So they'll tell you, their list of things that they think, that they want. And then we start looking at stuff. Then they don't like that. And I like this. Well, they got to figure out their style. Like there's so many styles out there. It's just fun to explore those and figure out which ones they like.
Yep.
It's
You
cool.
don't know
There's
what you
tons
don't
of
know.
Absolutely. There's tons of different styles. Tons.
What would you say? So like if they are so let's say I was a first time home buyer, like what are things that you tell your first time buyers to look for?
Well, first we start off with a consultation. So like you come sit with me at the office, we go to a Starbucks or CC's, and I just go through a checklist. Like the things that you like, the things that you don't like. Like how far do they really want to be away from work? Like, do they get road rage at stuff? Like, because if they do, we want to stick closer to work than maybe you think you want, right? And we talk about how big of a yard that they want. Are they going to cut the grass? Do you want to cut it with a riding lawnmower, a push mower, or a weed eater, right? Do you want a garage? Do you want this? We just make a list. And then I ask them like what kind of styles. Like if it's a couple, usually they will not like the same stuff, and that's totally normal. So we try to find a mix, but they haven't ever seen it, so they don't really know, right? So then we take that list and we take the list, and then I don't want them to give me any addresses they've seen. I want to take the list and I'm going to make my own list of houses from what they gave me. And then we go take a test drive. So we'll just take a Saturday or Sunday or whenever day is good for them, and we'll go take a couple hours, and I want to show them the ones I picked out. And we're not buying any of them, but we're just going to say, do you like this? Do you not like this? Do you like this? Because then I'm making notes. Because then we're going to fine tune so we don't waste our time. Because it's hard in this business when we just go and look at a whole bunch of stuff and nobody talks about, well, I didn't like that. I like this. I like that. We'll be looking forever unless we get a list, right? So we got to talk about it, especially if it's a couple, especially if they have different options. Because then they go, oh, well, yeah, I said that, but now that's not so bad. Like, okay, that's movement, right? And then we go from there. And then one of the last things that day is I go over a purchase agreement. We have a state mandated agreement. They're 11 or 12 pages now. We're getting a new one in January. We go over the agreement and we say, okay, this page is for this. This is your obligations. This is what we're going to need to know. This is, how long it's going to take for this and for that. Because when we do find the house that they absolutely love, and we talk about what to offer, and we talk about this, they are not listening to me. They are mentally placing furniture and moving in and doing stuff, and we're not even listening about contracts. So it's always good to do it the very first test drive. We're going to go through the whole thing. And then, because for the offer, we're just filling in the blanks, and nobody's paying attention because they mentally already live there. So that's just the process that I go through.
Right. No, I like that because, I was thinking back to when we bought our house, and it was like, I don't remember anything after. All right, we decided we were buying it. We made the offer, and then it was like, all right, sign here, 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 sign here. Oh, sign here. You missed signing there. Initial. And I was like,
yep.
I had to take an Advil after we got done because my arm was tired from all that writing.
Yeah.
And so, now, let me ask this question, because you said something that I thought was interesting. You said we go take our test drive on a Saturday or Sunday. Is it intentional that you're doing it on a Saturday and a Sunday?
No, it's just usually whenever the buyers are off. Like generally
Okay.
buyers work during the day. I don't want them to, when we pick the one and we have inspections and all the rest of it, they will have to take some time off of work, right? So in the house looking stage, the less time we can take off of work, the better off for their office and their work environment and all their stuff. Like I don't want to disrupt where they work. So like sometimes they're both off on Tuesday. Well, that's perfect. We'll do it on Tuesday. It doesn't matter to me. Just it's when it's convenient for them.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that makes sense. I was just wondering if there was like a method to the madness or.
No, Saturday's the house buying day.
And just was my curiosity speaking, because I thought, I know if Ginger's doing it, is it because she wants them to see, hey, here's who's home? Well, that was where I initially thought, because that was one I did, was I went and like, that was a creepy driver around the neighborhood where I was looking to purchase, and like, that 5 in the after, or 6, 7 o'clock in the afternoon on the weekend. I just wanted to see who was around.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely do. I mean, when working with buyers, you have to make them comfortable. Like they have to be comfortable. If they're not comfortable, there's going to be nervousness and anxiousness and thoughts that they're not doing the right thing. And so the more information I can give somebody and the more time and the more things that they can check out and make sure they're okay with, then the easier it is.
If you're watching and not ready for full organizational training, but you want to grow personally, I'd like to invite you to join our Leadership Multiplier School community. It's a community of positive, growth-minded leaders who are serious about developing influence and helping others do the same. If leadership matters to you, you belong in that room. Let's get back to the show. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that you do that. That's really cool. And so, as we're kind of starting to get towards the top of the hour, I love asking people this question, because I believe all leaders are readers. Not all readers are leaders, but all leaders are learners, and they're constantly learning. And so what's one book that you recommend all leaders or entrepreneurs read?
I have all of the agents that work for me, and I do pass this book out a lot. It's Chris Voss's book, Never Split the Difference.
Okay. So somebody else had, and I know you've recommended, I have the book. I was about to say it's like right there on the corner. It's in my next to read. So tell us a little bit more. What is that about?
Okay, so there's several lessons in the book, but the one that hit the home to me was the test of proof of life. So Chris Voss is a retired FBI hostage negotiator, and he's the author of the book. And he talks about proof of life, that when there's a hostage situation, you want to make sure that the hostage is still alive. So that's the proof of life thing. So in sales, in the book, he talks about, so when you get a call or you go on a sales call, you've got to make sure there's a deal in it for you. So it's proof of life. So I have been in several, this has probably made such a huge impact in my business, because for years and years and years, every listing call, every buyer consultation, or every buyer phone call, I thought I had rapport with them. I thought I was working with them, and then come to find out they either bought a house with somebody else or they listed with somebody else. And I never understood why. I just never said why. So Chris Voss says, when you do your initial information searching with this prospective client, you have to find out if there's a deal in it for you. So many times in real estate, say if it's a relocation, that relocation client already has their favorite agent that might not be in the relocation network, but they've got to have two options to go back to the relo company and they'll still pick their friend, but they needed a second one. So many times, that was me. Our office is a relo office, or so when I get that relo call and I do my whole dock and pony show, and I never got the deal. Well, that's because they had their friend do it. And then you see the listing come up and you see it was their buddy. Well, so now I ask, like, are you interviewing other people? Tell me more about this other person. And, I will find out if they already have a favorite. Like, then I'll know I'm doing my whole dog and pony show or just the minimum because you need a second bid. And then it doesn't hurt my feelings when I see the house is listed because I knew, and from the beginning, I wasn't going to get that. There was no option. There was no credit for me. But for many years, I just got heartbroken over losing all these, losing these deals here and there. And it wasn't me anyway. I was never going to get the deal. The hostage was killed. I mean, I wasn't getting the deal. Proof of life. Proof of life.
Yeah. And so and now my mind is rolling, like, how do you apply that into, I guess, just sales in general? Do you just, like, how would you suggest doing that? Because I don't know the book.
No, no. Well, in real estate, I ask, like, have you been talking to other agents? Have you found somebody that you liked? And usually if you're face to face with them or on the phone, I mean, texting and emails, you can't tell, but you can tell if someone is, oh, no. Well, yeah, you do. No. Who have you been talking to? And how do you know that person? And, how are you related? That's it. You just have to have a conversation to weed it out and go, listen, if you just need a second opinion, I don't mind doing it for you. Because then I know it gets them off the hook. I don't mind doing it. Like, I'm not going to hang up the phone and go, don't call me back. But, if you need the second opinion, I'll give it to you. But I just, I want to know if I'm in the running, if it's going to be an opportunity for me or not.
And everything that you'd said, that's a lot of time, work, effort, energy. Whereas I just need somebody to give me another quote. Cool. Here you go.
Seriously. No, I mean, and in our BNI group, we have contractors that, when you ask them for an estimate, they kind of like, well, I don't want to put a whole bunch of work into it if I'm not going to get the deal. Well, no. And I explained to them, I've got to have 2 bids. I've got to have this. I've got to have that. You might not get it. So yes, I don't want you to put 5 hours into this estimate. Give me a range, and then give me some notes about what could be the difference. I don't want to waste somebody's time, but you do have to check proof of life.
Right. Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Now, what about maybe a book that you're either currently reading or might have just finished reading?
It's one of the ones I just finished reading that I absolutely love is called Slowing Down to the Speed of Joy. So Slowing Down to the Speed of Joy is a book that talks about our whole world in the last 100 years has gotten faster and faster and faster, and we are graded on as a society and as human beings to be efficient and be this and that, like just to do as much as you possibly can. It also talks about in the book about that there's beauty in having enough, like being enough, having enough. And it talks about just once you slow down and you get out of the busyness of it, you actually do more because you're very, and it's intentional what you do, and you actually end up doing more than the crazy rat race busyness.
I like it. And so, last question that I always ask everybody is, what's one thing that I should have asked you that maybe I didn't ask you?
I thought it would come up, but it hasn't. So I want to say about like where I get my business from and like some of the sources of business, because one big source of business for me is through the Dave Ramsey network. So for 11 years, I have been a Ramsey trusted agent. And if a lot of people don't know who he is, some people do, some people don't.
I was going to say,
So-
who is Dave Ramsey for those that don't know Dave Ramsey?
Yeah, so Dave Ramsey is a financial, he talks about financial stableness for individuals and for families and stuff. And his whole mantra is being debt free. So to be, have your, no credit card debt, no payments of any kind, to become millionaires on your own. And he's helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people. He's out of Nashville. He's got a national syndicated radio show. He's got a whole bunch of stuff. So, and I am debt free. Like I am debt free, and it's a whole different experience when you don't have bills to pay. I can tell you. So I always give people the books, and when I meet people because they solicit really anybody. If you're looking for an agent, so online you get tracked. Like, so if you're listening to this, I apologize, but tomorrow you will probably get some kind of ad from Dave Ramsey, because they have a really good marketing department. Even when I talk about it, it'll be on my phone now. Tomorrow I'll get 3 or 4 ads from him. So I always, when people call in or when people click to find an agent, they get a couple in every area. And when I speak to somebody, I always find out if they know who Dave is and if they do. And my joke is, if you either don't know who I'm talking about or you have a Dave tattoo. Like, people are tried and true Dave people.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I was actually thinking, I was like, oh, I did want to ask her about that working with Dave Ramsey and teaching the financial piece, and I was like, I hope she brings that up because I did want to ask it.
Yeah, because I do teach. So he does have a Financial Peace University course, and it teaches individuals and families and anybody to become debt free. And it's a 9-week course. I facilitate it at our church. You can also do them online, but it's a really good, really good foundational class. And there's a lot of people that go do Dave-ish, like people don't do all of it, but it's a great education just to learn about it, to become debt free, and to be smart with what you make. I mean, we only get to do this once.
Well, Ginger, if anybody wants to reach out and get in touch with you, how do they reach out and get in touch with you?
They can call me or text me or email me. I have a whole bunch of, realtors, we got 15,000 contacts. You can just holler my name out the front door and I'll call you.
And guys, I'm putting it all below as well. So
yeah,
you'll see Ginger listed below, that you can reach out to her through any of those methods. Ginger, I appreciate you hopping on, spending a little time with us, sharing about your story and leadership and growth.
You're welcome, Aaron. I appreciate it. It was fun.
My pleasure. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
If this episode added value to you, here are your next steps. If you lead an organization and want to develop strong leaders, connect with us at Coach Clark Leadership and Development. We have a free 30-minute connection discovery call. If you're a growth-minded leader looking for community and accountability, join Leadership Multipliers. Either way, don't just consume leadership, commit to it. All right, let's bring this one home. Today's conversation with Ginger was packed with real-world lessons, from building trust with clients, to navigating a commission-based industry, to stepping outside of your comfort zone through networking and public speaking. Ginger shared how adapting to change, especially technology, has been critical in real estate, why understanding client needs matters more than chasing quick wins, and how financial education principles has influenced her runs in her business. If you took anything away from this episode, let it be this: success doesn't come from shortcuts. It comes from consistency, credibility, and connecting with people the right way. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor. Click like, subscribe, follow. Make sure you share this. That way you don't miss future conversations just like this one. And remember, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. So keep learning, keep leading, and keep connecting. And I'll see you on the next episode of Clark Connection Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Clark Connection podcast. If today's episode added value to you, do me a favor, follow the show and share it with someone who needs it. You can connect with me at my website, coachaclark.com, or on social media at Coach A. Clark. All the links are in the description. Until next time, keep leading, keep growing, and keep connecting.